You know Katy Perry accidentally killed the nun?
They did not want us to see this. Tonight, I just exposed the darkest secrets on TikTok. I risked everything to get to the dark side of TikTok. And you're gonna wanna watch till the end of the video because you are not going to believe what I found. What's scarier than TikToks we're about to watch today is the fact that 75% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe for more scary videos. Thank you.
You ever hear the Bob Marley theory?
How he like cut off his thing because he had cancer?
Yeah, and how
It was planned.
It was planned, yes. The theory was that the CIA actually set it up because he was too much of a positive impact on the world. This was when he was doing his peace concert. Now, he was actually assaulted in his own home. Two armed men, they broke into his home and shot at him. He almost died, right? Now people are saying that could have been CIA trying to set up an assassination, but it didn't work. So he moved to New York. He stayed there for a while, and he was in Central Park. He was walking in Central Park when he was approached by a man. His name was Carl Kobe. He is a presumed CIA agent. He gave Bob Marley shoes. Now, Bob Marley took the shoes. When he put on the shoes, there was a needle in the bottom.
That's so crazy.
A few weeks passed and he got cancer in his foot, his big toe.
Yeah.
His big toe, where he was punctured, got cancer. And then the cancer killed him.
Follow for more Hoopers, Hoop Conspiracy Theories.
Bro, they definitely took him out. You're telling me two people broke into his house and almost took his life, and shortly after he moved, someone gave him shoes with a needle in it, and then he got cancer from it? This is a government setup if I've ever heard one.
So these motherfuckers got a train that goes underneath water for 35 minutes? Count me out. So this motherfucker right here is the Eurostar train that goes from London to Paris underneath water in a tunnel for 35 minutes. You already know, count me out. Cause all I could think about is what if this boy just fill up with water and we in this boy, it's over with. You can't get out of there. You cannot bail. See you later, Casanova. Now I know it's a lot of motherfuckers that use this method daily to cut they commute in half, but for me, I take the motherfucking scenic route. It'll just be my luck that I get on one of these and before I know it, hell freezes over, this boy fills up with water and I can't get out. Count me out. If I'm not willing to do bridges, I'm definitely not willing to do trains underneath water for 35 minutes or more. Count me out.
But in 35 minutes underwater, what is stopping a shark from body slamming your train? Like 1 minute you could be going to work and the next minute you're the next victim in Finding Nemo. And instead of finding Nemo, it's gonna be finding you.
While the world is busy arguing about politics, Chinese scientists just quietly de-aged monkeys. Let me try and explain this in American. You see, at the very center of the aging process are your stem cells. Think of them as construction workers, and your body is the city. When the city is young with no corrupt politicians, these workers, they show up in hordes. They fix potholes, keep the streets clean, and build houses for the homeless. But as the city ages and the politicians start to become corrupt, insert your choice of Republican or Democrat, fewer construction workers start turning up. This causes buildings to become run down, trash starts piling up on the streets. Heck, some of those construction workers are now dealing Fent to the homeless. So, this team of Chinese scientists from CCMU said, let's try and create a brand new special type of construction worker that resist these corrupt politicians and maintain the city no matter what. And so they created a new type of human stem cell. And all you need to know, it's called SRCs for short. Then over the next 44 weeks, they injected these SRC cells into macans that were the equivalent age of humans in their 60s and 70s. And what they discovered is remarkable. Not only did these new stem cells reverse key signs of aging in 10 major body systems, but they also presented minimal to no negative side effects. No tissue damage, no tumors, no fevers, no weight loss. And at the end of this 44-week trial, these grandpa monkeys Their brains worked better. Their bones were stronger. Their tissues showed less damage. They grew new, healthy cell populations in their brain and reproductive organs. Even their sperm production was improved. Hey, yo! Now what makes this even more exciting is that this study was published in Cell, which is a highly revered journal where the peer review standards are rigorous. And this was achieved on monkeys, which are much more similar to humans, because the majority of anti-aging studies are done on mice or other simpler organisms. Now, there are some caveats. Because their findings are novel, meaning the first of their kind, there is no replication yet. They also weren't very clear on the sample size. Was this 3 monkeys? Was this 100? And also, just because it's showing promising results in monkeys doesn't necessarily mean that will work the same for humans. But I don't know. After Xi and Putin were caught on a hot mic talking about living forever, something's going on. Guys, we may have just witnessed history. Yesterday, 22-year-old inventor Julian Brown ran the first ever muscle car on plastiline. His 110-octane gasoline he converted from plastic waste. As the live stream from Atlanta showed, he turned on the car to demonstrate there was no fuel inside. And sure enough, it didn't start. He then filled the car with a canister of plastiline, pressed the button, and the rest is history. Now, to be clear, Julian Brown didn't invent pyrolysis. Converting plastic to fuel is a well-established process that's been around for decades. But he did invent the world's first solar continuous microwave pyrolysis reactor, which fundamentally changes how expensive and renewable this process is. And he did all of this without the backing of large corporations, and he was able to build this in his own backyard with a bunch of scraps! Now, he says his reason for doing all of this is to send a message to the world that people are no longer going to wait for big corporations or big government to do what needs to be done.
Because this is our world. This is our Earth. And we care and we protect it.
In fact, in May, he even got his plastic diesel scientifically tested and it passed with flying colors. The lab even went as far to say that Julian's diesel had better emissions than regular diesel.
I thought it was surprisingly well distilled. I thought it was surprisingly clean as well for plastic. And it blew my mind that plastic could be redistilled into diesel.
He says his end goal is to get this in the world and where it needs to be.
Let's get it in the world. Let's get it implemented how it needs to be, because that's the whole point of why I started this. And so that's the strive and the move, without a doubt, to get this where it needs to be.
What do you mean 27 terabytes of CP was found in Ian Watkins' computer? That's around
3 years worth of video.
I don't think y'all realize just how massive 27 terabytes is. All 26 seasons of South Park don't even equate to 1 terabyte. And I'm not saying there's an agreeable amount to how much CP someone should have, but like, why do these niggas always have the most absurd amounts of this shit? If you don't know who Ian was, yes, I did say was. I'll get to that in a second. He was the lead singer for a band called Lost Prophets, and he was using his fame and power for just straight up evil, bruh. Because he would use it to get access to his fans' babies so that he could abuse them and give them
his version of breast milk.
But this absolute villain ended up going to prison, bars, and as soon as the cell doors got opened this week, 2 inmates came up to him and hit his ass with a
ghost face fatality.
He was found later on in a pool of his own red sauce, and he also pissed himself. Kinda ironic, seeing that someone pissing themselves probably
turned this dude on.
But honestly, this is just a terrible way to pass. No one deserves to pass away no matter what they do. But these are the 2 men who did this to him, and they are being tried for murder in court. And can the judge and everyone just agree, bruh, that this nigga had to go? Just let them go off free. If anything, you should take time off their original sentence.
Some guy got tricked into doing a gender change.
I heard about
you
this.
Did?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, the guy, I forgot his name, but there was 2 guys in India, and then they were like confessing like feelings for each other on the bench, and one guy was like, "Oh no, brother, I don't roll like that, like blah blah blah, like we can just be friends, right?" The other guy, he's like, "Okay, this is how I'm gonna do it, right?" So he tells the guy, "Oh, you have something medically wrong with you. Let's go get checked up." Right? The guy goes get checked up. They sedate him, and then, oh my god, I don't know if you've seen the video of the actual guy waking up.
I didn't see the video.
Bro, so after he wakes up from his sedation or whatever it's called, he removes the blanket, and obviously his guy genitals are gone, and it's now woman's genitals.
Oh my god,
so
that's actually messed up.
He removed the blanket. In the video, he's crying.
Oh my god,
what the fuck is going on? Like, what did I agree to? And it makes it worse. I don't know if you know the full story.
No.
The guy that set this up comes in with flowers and says, oh, we can like be a relationship now.
Oh my God, yeah.
Will you marry me?
Because he wanted him.
Yes.
Oh my. This is irreversible damage too. He's literally stuck as a woman for the rest of his life. Well, imagine being this dude's therapist. He tells you that some guy tricked him into becoming a woman.
So this is the Taiwanese elevator case, right? It starts off with the manager, like the building manager. He's closing up everything. It's dark. There's nobody in the offices no more. And I don't know what he sees a lady come inside, right? She has her daughter. She's carrying her daughter. Her daughter's like 4. She's like 37 years old. She runs past the manager. And he's like, hey, like, what the f, where are you going? What the f are you doing? She just continues, opens the elevator, and she's like, oh, I'm just looking for a friend. And he's kind of confused, but he like felt like a weird ass feeling like something was wrong. She never ended up coming down, bro. So he looked at the camera, and then the footage that he saw on the camera.
Oh, you have the actual footage?
So you see her, she gets out of the elevator, but the weird part is, why the f did she take off her jacket, her daughter's jacket, and then she took off her sandals, and then she walks out of the elevator, and specifically the 11th floor, and where she's heading over is the fucking staircase, right? But that staircase is specifically either to go down or to go into the roof, and then from there they're never seen ever again. The next day, he's like, what the fuck happened? He automatically thinks like, yo, jumped off. It's probably he calls the cops. The cops expect that they're gonna have to do like a cleanup. So the cleanup crew comes. They look all around the perimeter. Nothing, bro. They watched every single second of footage, bro. They didn't leave the building at all. So what the f? Their last option is to check the building itself. They go around looking at every single crevice, every single room, every single hidden room, water pipes, water tanks. They check everything, bro.
They couldn't find her?
And still to this day,
they can't find them?
They have never found both of them. Like,
sounds like some backrooms type thing.
Bro, that's what the fuck I thought of.
Really?
Not specifically the backrooms, but just that they went to a different reality. And the other theory is that,
I don't know if you heard the story about the 30-year-old baby. So it's supposed to be the world's oldest baby.
No pun intended, but he's very chill.
Yeah. Because it was like released in like the 90s, but they froze the embryo, and then after the 30 years they put it back.
Oh my God, so they actually birthed it?
They birthed it. The mother that came out with it is literally the same age as this baby is supposed to be.
Baby Thaddeus has been earthside for less than 2 weeks, but his story begins long before his birth.
So this baby is actually supposed to be 30, but birth, it froze.
Birth, it's just 1 year old.
There's 1 year old.
That's insane.
And then I think they're gonna meet soon. Like the mom gave the embryo away, something like that, and they put it in another lady that wanted
That's how long they can hold on to eggs.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Thaddeus has a sister who's 30 years old, and he's already an uncle because she has a daughter. I like to think he was put on reserve while we were just little people ourselves.
See, everything's fun and games until a baby comes out and he's like, yo, where my food at? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd suggest you go get him his food before he gets up and gets it himself.
Morbid Facts, Part 752. On December 10th, 2021, a violent tornado tore through the Rackley family's home near Caruthersville, Missouri. 9-year-old Anastine and her sisters huddled with their mother in a windowless bathroom, where their mom snapped a final photo to reassure relatives that they were all in their safe space. But moments later, the twister ripped the house apart and hurled the family into a nearby field. While Anastine's parents and sisters survived with injuries, the 9-year-old girl was tragically killed. In 1999, Texas man Herschel Rawls went into surgery to have his cancerous bladder removed, but he woke up to an absolute nightmare. Without warning, doctors had also amputated his beef bayonet, claiming that the cancer had spread and that the drastic step was necessary to save his life. But weeks later, pathology tests revealed that the penile tissue they had cut away wasn't cancerous at all. After years of anguish, Rawls sued, and in 2003 reached a quiet out-of-court settlement, but was left with the grim reminder of how a single surgical decision can leave a patient permanently mutilated.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's over for him. They literally lied and took his meat. Yo, he's cooked.
For posting about my sexual assault while DoorDashing. They just fired me! And the police are doing nothing! I lost my job! And that was my only way to make money to pay my bills!
Ma'am, the reason why you got fired from your job is because you did not follow directions. The man clearly stated on the app for you to leave the food at the front door and leave, but you did not do that. You decided to open this man's door and look inside of his house without his permission, which is invasion of privacy, by the way. And you saw that he was passed out on his own couch in his own house with his meat out. Okay, I understand you don't want to see that, but at the same time, you opened this man's door and looked inside of this man's house without his permission. Then you proceeded to record this
man naked in his own house on his own couch and posted it on social media for everybody to see, and you're wondering why you're fired. And then you're claiming to be sexually assaulted when clearly you were not sexually assaulted. You invaded that man's privacy, and second of all, that's called indecent exposure, not sexual assault. Now, I can see if you never recorded the man, you probably could have had some type of a case. It probably would have got dropped though, because that man is in his own house. He can do whatever he wants in his house. If he want to be passed on the couch with me now, he can do that because that's his house. Now, ma'am, this could have all been avoided if you would have just followed directions, but you chose not to do that, and now you got fired from your job. So technically, it's your fault that you got fired. Now, I understand nobody wants to see somebody's meat while they're doing their job. Nobody would. I knew I wouldn't. But at the same time, she has to understand that she violated his privacy. Even though his door was cracked, she wasn't supposed to open that man's door and look inside of his house, even if he was passed out. So with that all being said, it's technically her fault that she got fired from her job because she did not want to follow directions and she wanted to be nosy.
You know Katy Perry accidentally killed a nun?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's in LA. There was like 2 nuns that stayed in a church. So Katy Perry, she's like, oh, I actually want to buy this real estate. Like, I'll give you hella money for this. It was like 14 mil. The nuns were like, nah, this is holy. Like, we're not going to give it to you. So boom, she goes there herself. She's like, yo, look, I have a tattoo of Jesus. Let me sing you a couple songs trying to convince you to sell it. Nuns were like, nah. The nuns even tried to go to millionaires to sell it for even more, like 20 million, right? Katy Perry was pissed. She went to the head of the Catholic Church and snitched on the nuns. So they're like, oh, they're not selling me it, but technically they actually don't own this property, right? They go into a crazy legal battle in church, and then during that court case, one of the nuns got so stressed, just dropped it. Damn. So
because she was stressed
yeah,
out.
and people were like trying to accuse her causing so much stress and indirectly her, because if they didn't go to court and she didn't have that court case, they needed to get more money from it. Bro, she's not stressing about nothing.
Famous celebrity.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Craziest X story ever.
What?
So you know how he was married to Angelina Jolie?
Yeah.
And so their marriage didn't end off on good terms. There was footage recently
of what?
Of Angelina Jolie exiting a building, walking somewhere.
Yeah.
And behind her was a guy that looked like he was in prosthetics.
What do you mean?
He was like in a disguise. And I'm gonna tell you right now, look at it and let me know if you think it's Brad Pitt putting on fake prosthetics just so he can be close to Angelina again.
Word.
Yeah, also, there's even key details because if you watch the video, not only does he look like Brad Pitt in a fucking costume, he also has the exact same mannerism because he drank a water the same way that he did in another video.
Wait,
Look.
so you think he's doing that just so he can fool the paparazzi that he's not with her, or just to stop?
No, just so he can be with her again.
A lot of these famous actors have access to some of the highest quality stuff, so I would not be surprised if this was actually him. And it would make sense because you know how the paparazzi is when they catch people together. I'm sure that he would not want to be a headline, so I guess you just gotta do what it takes.
You guys are gonna go nuts over this new documentary. In this film, Mike Lobel investigates a 30-year-old family secret that him and his siblings are in the dark about. Growing up, they were not allowed to go upstairs. Their house was armed 24/7. And their dad was very volatile and angry, and it really affected the entire family. If you love documentaries, hit follow because I post daily and you'll always have something to watch. Now that him and all his siblings are adults, they are finally asking the question, what was going on in their house when they were kids? More than that, they had no idea what their dad did for a living. Mike finds a tape in the basement that says, give to police if kids are kidnapped. And eventually he gets his dad to agree to be interviewed in this film about what the secret is. But his dad says, I'm keeping the tapes until I die. This is such a wonderful documentary about growing up and family trauma. This is such a brave, well-made film, and you guys need to go check this out. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
The camera rolled as he waded into the river, at first going just to the depths of his knees, before the riverbed began to drop beneath him, sending the water all the way up to his chest.
Então, pessoal, e aí tem a correnteza. Aqui já, olha, passinho pra frente, a água já tá praticamente.
And all while this happened, he spoke to the viewers at home about how unsafe this area could be, especially for unattended children who weren't strong swimmers. But even with most of his body now submerged, he wanted to take it even further in order to prove his point. And so he continued wading towards the center of the river, right in the direction of the noticeably fast-moving current, until suddenly...
Olha, dei pouquinho aqui, ó. A água já tá acima do meu peito, pra você ver a situação. Se eu andar pouquinho aqui, deixa eu ver aqui. Ó, vou andar mais. Ó a fundura aqui, ó. Ui.
Lenildu physically recoiled and let out a loud yell. He stood there for a moment, anxiously glaring into the water, before telling his crew, "I think there's something down here underwater."
The shit I'm about to tell you right now, they're gonna try and downplay. They're trying to make it seem like it's not that serious, but it is. So there's reports that there was the first ever human case of a flesh-eating screwworm. So a person came from Guatemala to the United States and is in Maryland right now and is infested with screwworm. Mind you, this screwworm infestation can be fatal. That means he can lose his life if it's not treated the right way. But if these parasites come in contact with you, it'll be a big problem. But I bet you that they won't tell you that in 2024, February, Costa Rica declared state of emergency for those same screwworm flies. And these same screwworm parasites love mammal flesh. So how you contract parasites is a screwworm fly. You heard what I just said? A fly. Lands on an open wound. And after they land on an open wound, they leave those eggs that they always lay. And within 24 hours, those screwworm eggs, yeah, they gonna feast on your flesh. So once again, like I said, they gonna tell you that this is not serious. This is serious because you don't know where it's coming from or where it came from. I'm out.
If you see these bears, don't feed them.
Boy, is this alcohol?
I know. Looking at this bear, you might be tempted to feel bad for it and want to get out of the vehicle and give it some food, but please don't do that. This clip is pretty ridiculous. It shows a person driving down the road in Romania, and in the distance we can see a bear that's sitting like a human up against this guardrail. The vehicle then pulls up and the bear is just hanging out. It's not afraid of the people inside, and this is a pretty big red flag. So for those that didn't know, Romania is home to a road that's oftentimes referred to as the Bear Highway, although it's officially known as the Transfăgărașan Highway. The road travels directly through brown bear habitat, which means people are using this road as a zoo, so to speak. And what happens is these people start interacting with nature in ways they shouldn't, like feeding the bears. People then think that these animals are friendly, and in this case, this guy got off his motorcycle, went up to the bear, and it killed him by pulling him into a ravine. These bears should be fearful of you and you them. It's dangerous otherwise. So if you encounter something like this, make sure that you just continue on your way. Do not give food to the panhandling bears.
Watch this.
Close enough, bud. That's close enough. Close enough, buddy. It's close enough. Get out of here. Go. Go.
The more you learn about moose, the more you realize they are not very nice creatures, and just their size alone is intimidating because a big bull moose can weigh up to over 1,200 pounds, up to close to 1,500 pounds. And then it's not like they're these big, slow creatures. Like, they can run almost 30 miles an hour, if not a little over that, and they're just not scared of humans. Like elk and deer, might get close to you, but as soon as they realize they're close to a human, they're pretty much always going to bolt away. Moose, as you see in this clip, it's just not that way. They're not scared of humans. They're not necessarily like tame animals, but they're just not scared, and I think that's a lot due to their just overall size. And as you can see in this clip, a moose, especially a big bull moose, will get close to you and not necessarily just run away.
I mean, I really don't know what he was expecting. Look at the way this moose is looking at this guy. You cannot tell me you did not look at this moose and already tell he was about to charge you. And he's sitting here talking about some don't come near me. Like, yeah, the moose speaks English, yeah.
This is not looking good, guys. This is not looking good. So in this picture, they sent the AI robot to confront a lion. One glance is all it took, and the machine froze and said multiple times, scared, scared, scared. That's what this robot was saying when it confronted the lion. As a matter of fact, I heard that the robot said it 100 times. It was scared of a lion. How is that possible? People are saying in that moment the first world's PTSD machine was born. So you mean to tell me robots are scared now? How? Scared has to do with an emotion. I mean, I'm a human, so if I see this, hell yeah, I'm gonna be scared. You know that. But for this, to be scared of a lion? This is deep, guys. And people are saying they think that these robots are starting to gain consciousness. Do I believe that? Nope. I don't believe that. That robot just was scared. Maybe they programmed it to be scared. But I know for sure, if I see this face to face, I'm gonna be shook for sure. Because I know that this could defeat me. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, that's not good. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about this.
Have you ever heard of the smiling man story?
Nah.
This is.
I feel like I would have heard about that though.
This is fun. So a guy who lives in like a major city.
Yeah.
He always goes on walks at night,
Mhm.
late at night, so no one's around him, right?
Mhm.
So one night he was like, I'm gonna go super late, like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So no one's there. I can enjoy my walk, right?
Mhm.
So he goes into that like forest thing he always goes into, right?
Mhm.
At the end of the road, he sees like a silhouette of like a man.
Yeah.
Right? And once the guy turns around and he gets like a better vision of his face,
Mhm.
his eyes are wide open and he's like grinning like a cartoon Joker grin. Like he's smiling super hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's just looking at it and he's like, okay. And the guy starts doing a dance.
Why?
Fam, I don't know. So the guy's just watching him doing a dance, but as he's doing a dance, he's walking closer to the guy, like taking steps.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, what the fuck is going on?
Mhm.
So what he does, it's smart. He moves up to the other side of the crosswalk
Mhm.
so he can pass. While he's walking the other way, he's just walking, oh, I'm on the crosswalk. I'm just not going to bother with him.
Yeah, yeah.
He turns around and he sees the smiling man looking at him. Now they're parallel to each other.
Yeah.
He's on this side, the other guy's on this side.
Mhm.
So he's like, what the fuck? So what he does, he runs and he tries to create distance like from him.
Mhm.
And the guy, he starts like on some cartoon shit, tiptoe. Like, he starts doing the animated tiptoe towards him. And when he starts doing this, the guy says, what do you want? And then the guy stops.
Yeah.
Turns around, starts walking like nothing happened.
Mhm.
He's like, what the fuck? He keeps walking. The smiling man turns around, starts fully sprinting at that guy. The guy starts running to his house.
yeah.
So they're both bolting it. And the story ends is when he finally reaches his house. He turns around, the guy's not there no more.
Yo, if you see a dude in the middle of the night that is smiling at you and he starts dancing towards you, I think what you need to do is go home. Why do people see this out? Like, I will never understand what goes through certain people's minds in these situations.
Heston James has been freed. We all know a few months ago, Heston James was arrested and facing up to 9 years in prison. Well, now he is not only a free man, but he is also back to posting. You see, Heston has made a new account and started posting videos to social media again. Now, whether or not there's still pending charges or he's just out on bail, I don't exactly know. All I know is that for the time being, Heston is a free man once more.
Living next to the woods can be creepy. It's not for everyone because you will see things, you will hear things. It can get very weird. And there is a particular set of rules that if you find yourself living next to the woods or the forest, that you should follow. Now, the first rule is at nighttime, always lock your doors, always close your curtains. Also, at nighttime, never look out the window facing the woods. If you hear a knock at your door at nighttime, do not answer it, especially if it is your back door. You will see lights coming from the woods. Do not follow them. Do not try and communicate with them. Just ignore them. And the most important thing you must remember is that anything you see outside, most likely it's not real. You are not seeing it or you are not hearing it. Now, this story comes out of Tennessee. There's this man named Christian. Christian said that at one point in time, he grew up in this farmhouse that was out in the boonies. And he said they lived deep, deep in the woods, and it was a dirt road that took several miles to get to their house. And they literally had no neighbors around. Well, he said when they first moved in, there was a lot of weird stuff that would happen. For instance, the dogs didn't want to go anywhere near the woods. They would get to the tree line, and they would turn around. And it was like they were afraid of something. They also noticed these deer. They would come into their yard at night and they would just be staring out into the woods like they were scared of something. And then one night, something very strange happened. So it was about 11 o'clock at night. And on the back door, they hear boom, 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 a knock. And that's when his father goes to the back door and he opens it up. There was no one out there. He said as he looked out into the woods, he started to hear screams. And it sounded like someone was in trouble. So he said he got up and him and his father went outside and they started looking around. They couldn't see anybody. So eventually they called the police. And the police came out and they searched the area. They couldn't find anyone. Well, on a regular basis, they started hearing screams outside their house coming from the woods. And every night, something would be knocking on their back door. A few times, they found the back door wide open. The other weird thing that started happening is Christian's brother started having these weird nightmares. And not only was he having nightmares, he started to sleepwalk. And he would get up from his bed, he'd walk down the hallway into the kitchen and out the back door. And right before he would get into the woods, his dad or his mom would stop him and wake him up. And, this happened several times. Well, eventually his father put up like a camera outside because he was trying to figure out who's knocking on the back door. And one day he looks at the video and he sees his son going out the back door. And he notices he just starts looking around like he's looking for something out in the woods, like something was calling him. And finally, his father comes running out and stops him. So the father started to get really creeped out. He told Christian and his brothers and sisters, do not go out in the woods. And he said that's when one night there was a very loud banging sound coming from the back door. And it was almost like someone was trying to get in this door. So he said his father grabs a baseball bat. He goes to the back door and he opens it. And he looks around and out of the corner of his eyes, he sees something moving in the woods. So he said his father started to make his way towards the wood line. And that's when he sees something run back further into the woods. So his father starts to go into the woods down this trail. And he said he could see this thing from a distance. And he noticed when he would kind of move, it would move. Or when he would turn to the right, it would turn to the right. Or when he would turn to the left, he would turn to the left. And he said whatever he would do, whatever movement he would do, this thing would follow. And he said that's when he realized whatever this was, it was almost like looking at a mirror. This thing was copying him. It was following his every movement. So his father turns around, takes off running through the woods, gets back in the house, and tells everyone, get in the vehicle, we are leaving. And they moved that night and left everything behind in the house. And he said still to this day, he has nightmares whenever he's near the woods because he still thinks about his time living in that place.
If you were driving late at night and you saw a person in the middle of the road asking for help, then whatever you do, do not stop because you're gonna be the one asking for help just after. And if you're like, no bro, I gotta help, I just can't let a person in this situation, well let me tell you that there is a 50% chance or even higher that you're gonna regret it. And if you don't believe me, listen to this story. You see, it all started when a man was driving late at night and all of a sudden, he came across a lady that was asking for help in the middle of the road. So the man who was driving decided to stop and see what's going on. This is where she explained to the driver that she was lost and she needed the ride back home. And by her voice, you can tell that she was very frustrated. When the driver heard that, he was like, okay, you know what? Get in the car. And he gave her his jacket in case she was feeling cold. Now, they're both inside the car, she gave him the address, and she kept thanking him for helping her. We know the driver in the front was like, yeah, don't even mention it, and they both kept silent until he made it to the address she gave him. And once they made it there, she left the car, she thanked him again, then she went home. The next day, the driver came back to the same place. If you're asking why, well basically to get back the jacket he gave to the lady he helped. And when he made it to her house, he knocked the door, but it wasn't the lady that he helped that opened the door. It was an old lady. So the old lady talking to the driver was like, who the hell are you? This is where the driver explained that he helped a woman yesterday and this is supposed to be her house. When the old lady heard him saying that, she was like, the person you're describing doesn't even live here. This is where the driver tried to describe and explain again. But the old lady didn't seem to care. She was like, the person you're talking about... Wait, you actually might be right. The person you're describing sounds exactly like my daughter. See, the driver started to get pissed off. He was like, I don't care if it's your daughter, your stepmom, your grandma, tell her to bring the jacket. This is where the old lady said something shocking. She said that her daughter, many years ago. You see, when the driver heard that, he was so shocked. He was like, Yes, my daughter actually on an accident, and just like you described, she in that exact same road. Sorry. Yeah, you see, every day I try to pretend that it's alright, but it's hurting me inside. It's not alright. My jacket got stolen by a ghost. Excuse me? I personally gave my jacket to your daughter yesterday, and that shit was expensive. You're telling me that your daughter is a ghost. I want my jacket back. Wait. So this whole time you was shocked, not because of what you heard. It was because of your jacket. Don't even start, okay? Don't even talk. Unless you want me to reunite you with her, let me get the hell out of here without you talking. Thank you. That's exactly why you should not help strangers on the road. Grip too hard, might stand too close, you gon' probably drown. How this way? Young about the show. I've been on the road, I don't care if because I get paid.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video. It made you tremble in your boots, and we're gonna be on to the next one.